What's up, guys? Sarus here, and I know I've been gone for about a week, and I want to say that I'm sorry. There's been some stuff going on with me, some stuff going on with other things that we've kind of been taking care of. It's tax season, so obviously we're anxious about that. Fortunately, it looks like we might be getting our taxes back on Thursday. Yay! But yeah, just being an adult, I guess, kind of got in the way of being really wanting to and having a lot of time to do YouTube in general, and for that I'm sorry. I know that I really didn't leave you guys off with any notice or anything of what was going to happen, and I feel bad about not recording. I really do. It hasn't been a fun week this last week. But that's not the only reason why I'm doing this video. I'm doing this video because there's been a lot of controversy on YouTube, especially probably about the last 2 weeks, and it's made it hard on me to want to make content. And the reason it's been hard on me is because I feel like we live in a world now where you have to be overly correct on what you say and what you believe in the people you talk to, and then there's a lot of things that go along with that, and I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person that tells you exactly what I expect from you guys and exactly what I want you to do, because that's not my place. It's not my place to force my beliefs in right and wrong, in respect, in dignity, in those kinds of things. It's not my place to, I think, try and force them on you in such a way. And I say this because I've seen a couple other YouTubers' videos, and I mean, they're big time YouTubers, so I am gonna name names. I've seen the videos that Felix has made, and I understand the joke and the message he was trying to get across. He did it in a very distasteful way, and he didn't do it in the right way. I get what he was trying to say, and I just think he could have gone at it much more, I wouldn't say PG. Yeah, PG. He could have taken this a little more PG-esque, and he could have reined it in a bit. He's always been one of those YouTubers that has gone for shock value. It's Felix. He's been doing that for the last several years. That's just his way of how he does his videos and his version of comedy. And although that can be good, he took it too far this time. Did the news media do what they should have done? Hell no. They didn't even do the things they should have done. They should have talked to him first, and they should not have gone to Disney or to YouTube and showed them one version of an article, and then after they decided to drop him, his show, then put out a different article. That's very underhanded of the Wall Street Journal, and I don't condone that at all. Nobody in this is 100% okay. Nobody is just a victim. A lot of people that are a part of this whole thing are also the perpetrators in some manner or form. And I think the only person that isn't, in my opinion, is Sean or Jacksepticeye. He made a video talking about some things, and a lot of the things he said I actually agreed with. Felix is feeling the repercussions of his actions, and he should feel those repercussions of his actions. He did a stupid thing, now he has to deal with the consequences. I totally and utterly agree with that. Do I think he's an anti-Semite? I don't think he is. I think he just made some extremely distasteful and poorly written jokes. And he's feeling the hurt now, and he needs to feel that hurt because he needs to learn just how bad things can get, because he's a fucking PewDiePie. He's got more subscribers than any other YouTuber on the fucking planet. he probably makes more than anybody else money-wise, especially from ad revenue, dear fucking Christ. I think that he needed that reality check. Now, was the reality check 100% fair? No, it was not. Like I said, the Wall Street Journal was not in the right in several spots. Did they have the right to write the... Were they in the right to write the article? Yes, they were. They are the Wall Street Journal. They are a bunch of journalists. They break news. That's their job. They shouldn't have to silence themselves because it's a certain person. Now, should their context be more based on actual fact instead of conjecture and instead of partial truths? Yes, they didn't give out the full story, they didn't contact the people they were supposed to, and they even switched out the title of this, they even switched out the headline just for clickbait. And they didn't get a comment from him until much later after when they went to his personal address, not his work address. They didn't call him in advance. They just showed up out of the blue. And then told him, and then said, we'll give you a platform to defend yourself, when he's been defending himself on the internet for a while now. So they are not in the right for that either. Now, do I agree with what Pewds did? I do not agree with what he did. In fact, I didn't even like watching those videos. And I do not condone what he did in any way, shape, or form. Racism and bigotry is not a joke to be made. I think they are very distasteful jokes, especially when it's against a religious group that has had literally thousands of years of oppression and hate thrown at them. You don't do that. And the only people that can get away with it are those that know how to do it tastefully, that have a legitimate message at the end, like most other professional comedians. I don't believe that those jokes are funny. I've never believed that those jokes are funny unless you have the ability to make them in a way to where it is not demeaning and degrading to that race and religion. Now there's of course Cinnamon Toast Ken, Kane, he came out with a video and it was kind of the same thing as Sean's, just a little more held back, in my opinion, but a lot of the same points were let across, and I agreed with him on things. But Mark was the first one to come out with a video, before the other two. I didn't agree with his video completely. Do people deserve respect and dignity? Yes. We are one race. We are the human race. And as there are going to be people out there saying, well, you're a white girl, you shouldn't be allowed to say that. I'm actually not completely white. I'm a Spaniard, thank you very much. I have Spanish blood, and I know what it's like to not be liked because you're not completely white. I know what it's like to not be liked because you're not of a certain religion, or the fact that your gender is supposedly supposed to make you less of a person. Believe it or not, I've had all of that thrown at me. I know what it is like to be hated and degraded for who you are and what you are. I'm not even straight. I'm bisexual, and I had that thrown at me, and I got the crap beaten out of me for not being a certain religion. So thank you very much for trying to make it, for the future people who were going to make it sound like that, because believe it or not, no, I've been there, I've seen that, and I've experienced it. Now, putting that aside, that was for discretion for all of you who were just about to jump on me. You can't, because again, I have been through that bullshit, so fuck you. But for me, I think there is a limit, and there is a certain point to where people don't deserve respect and dignity. I think that for the majority of the planet, we all should respect each other and give each other dignity and look at each other as human beings, not as certain groups. I've always believed that. I've never not believed that. And as a Navy brat, as a Department of Defense or Department of Energy brat, because my parents both work for the DoD, as an Army wife, as a mother, as a minority in several places that I lived, I've always believed that. I've never believed that one group should be set aside from the other. And that, for me, comes with experience from being a part of that group that was set aside by others. And I'm still, I'm still technically a minority in a lot of areas. So I understand that. But there are certain people, in my opinion, that do not deserve that dignity and respect. And this is directly towards what Mark said. He said that we are all human and we should all be treated like humans, period. I agree with that to a point. There are monsters in this world. There are rapists. There are murderers. There are child molesters. There are war criminals. There are terrorists. There are people that are pure 100% evil. I don't believe they deserve respect. And I don't believe they deserve to be treated with dignity. Yes, they are human. I will not deny that. Biology states they are human. But if they have absolutely no empathy inside of them for someone else, if they cannot find any way, shape, or form to treat someone else who is different, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, if they cannot find it in their hearts, in that small little black heart of theirs, to treat somebody with even the tiniest bit of respect and dignity, why should I? If they are going to do nothing but try and destroy me as a human being, what gives somebody the right to tell me that I should still treat them with dignity and respect and still look at them as a human being? Because they don't have that right. Because they don't have that being thrown at them. Because they don't have that attack upon them, and they don't know what that fear is. They don't know what that harassment feels like. They don't know the circumstances of that situation. And that's what it all boils down to. It's the circumstances of every situation is different. Regardless of who you are or where you come from, there will always be different set of circumstances, different sets of instances, different sets of scenarios. That everything is different, and it's different for everyone. You can't just automatically tell somebody, well, he may be a Nazi and he's spouting hate towards you because you're a Jew, but you still gotta respect him. No, you don't. And I get that we don't respect each other enough as a society and as a species via the human species. I get that we don't have as much respect as we used to, and we do need to work on that. I try and respect as many people as I can because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the asshole, even though I am a giant asshole, and you all know it, obviously. But at the same time, there comes a point to where you can't respect somebody, and you can't treat them with dignity. If they're going to act like a monster, full of nothing but pure hate and discontent, then they're going to be treated like a monster. If they're going to act like an animal, they're going to be treated like an animal. That's why we have the prison system, for crying out loud. You lock animals and monsters away. You throw away the key and you leave them in that little dark hole because that's all they're worth. I don't believe that the monsters of this world deserve that respect and dignity. And in my opinion, and this is all my opinion, by the way, I would never force this upon you guys. These are just thoughts that I want to get out for future reference. I would never, ever tell you how to think, because you're individuals and you've gone through different scenarios and situations and things, and you're allowed to make up your own conclusions, and I would never bash you for that. But when it comes to something that technically is not natural, racism is not a natural phenomenon in the animal kingdom. Bigotry is not a natural phenomenon in the animal kingdom. To hate is not a natural phenomenon in the animal kingdom. We as human beings have created that. Not through nature, but through our own self-hatred. Just through fear. Because that's all those things are created by. Fear. Fear of difference and fear of the unknown is what creates hate, bigotry, and discontent. Hate isn't even a natural occurrence in the animal kingdom. We, as a species, are the most free-thinking and have the biggest capability to determine something and have the biggest capability to decide what's right and wrong, not just on a basic primal instinct like the other 99% of the fucking planet does in terms of species and animals and even fucking plants and bugs, but we determine it based on our emotions and based on our fear. That's the problem. It's not bigotry in general. It's not sexism in general. These huge general markings, there's subplots to each and every one of them, and it is different for everybody. Fear creates hate. Hate creates bigotry. Hate creates racism. Hate creates segregation. Everything stems from fear. Fear of the unknown and fear of something you don't know how to control. Something that you don't understand. And to me, the one thing I fear the most is knowing that it doesn't matter how many of us try with every fiber of our being to rid the world of that fear and that hate. My kids are still going to have to deal with it. My grandkids will probably still have to deal with it. My friends, my family, even random strangers on the street, their future generations will still have to deal with it because there will still be enough people that have that fear and hate. And it will continue, whether we like it or not. Now, we could always try and just outlaw it completely, but that's just going to create a whole other fear and hate. It doesn't matter what you do to fix the problem. There will always be that one person that has the ability to spread their views. And there will always be that one person who has the fear regardless of your solution to the problem. Because bigotry itself is not the problem. Hate itself is not the problem. Sexism, racism, those are not 100% the problem. Human beings in general are the problem. We are a warring, hateful, spiteful species, and we are the most dangerous species on the entire planet. We are the problem as a whole, not just as one. I think there are those that want to believe that they can never be part of the problem. But by not admitting that the human race in general is just a very hateful, spiteful species, that makes it part of the problem. You're not addressing the whole problem. You're not addressing the whole thing. You're only nitpicking. And that's another thing that makes this worse. Nitpicking the problems and only wanting to make it better for you and for your little group. And not wanting to make it better for the whole. Now, I know a lot of people are going to listen to this and think, well, she must be like anti-Semite and stuff. That's not it at all. I hate anti-Semites. I hate Nazis. I hate all those people. They would destroy me. And they would hate everything I say. Granted, I will always try and take the higher road. And I will not spout pure hate and discontent for one particular group. Because that, again, is part of the problem. Hate is hate, no matter who it's aimed at. Bigotry is bigotry, no matter who it's aimed at. Racism is racism. Sexism is sexism. It's all the same. All comes down to our fears. Our fears of something we don't understand. Our fears of something that we refuse to learn so that we can understand it in some small manner. That's why we're not one united planet. It's why we can't get along. We don't want to. And we don't want to, and even though you're gonna say, yeah, I totally want to get along with everybody. Fuck you, Sarus. If you're not willing to learn, and you're not willing to do the research on your own, and stop being a sheep and follow the sheep with the biggest bell, then you don't. Use your own mind and think for yourself. And decide on your own beliefs. And decide those beliefs on your terms. Don't let somebody else try and rein you in on themselves. Don't let somebody else try and force you to believe something. Believe what you want, but not because someone else tells you to do it. Do it because you yourself, you as an individual wants to. I honestly don't know where I went with this. This went to about 14 different points, but yeah, do I believe what Felix did was right? Fuck no. I think he's an idiot, and he's learning a very valuable lesson right now. Don't make those jokes. And if you're going to, you need to be much more specific and much more talking out as to what you're doing. Do I agree with the Wall Street Journal? No, I do not. I think the way they carried themselves and the way they approached this was extremely off. Did they have the right to break the news? Yes, they did. They are a journal after all. It is within their legal rights to do so. Freedom of the press, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. But they still could have maintained a much more professional approach to it, which they did not. They acted extremely amateurish, and I do not condone what they did as well. Was Sean, Mark, or Ken in the right? To a degree, yes. Sean was more in the right than anybody else because he not only bashed what the news media did, but he also bashed his friend. And sometimes being a friend doesn't mean holding their hand and trying to defend them 24/7. Sometimes you need to give that friend a good ass kicking and make sure they realize what they did was wrong. That's being a true friend. Knowing that you have the ability to tell that person, you fucked up, this is how you fucked up, don't do it again. That's being a true friend, and I think Sean has been more of a true friend than anybody else has. Ken was pretty much the same way. Again, he was a little more soft back and taken back from it, but that's kind of his style. But in the end, I think he didn't do that bad. Was Mark in the right? No, he was not in the right. He was in the right for about 80% of it. But that 20% of saying that we need to respect the all or none, that's bullshit. There are those in this world that do not deserve it. You know it. I know it. We all watch the fucking news, so we all know it. That's all I have to say about this. This is a long-ass video. I don't even think I'm going to edit it. I'm just going to put the beginning and the... I'm just going to make sure that my audio and my video are synced up, and then cut it off at the end, put my ending stuff on it. I'm not even going to monetize this video, because fuck that. There's no point. But that's all I have to say. This has given me a lot to think about. And I hope that this has given you a lot to think about. I hope that what I've said makes sense. I hope that what I've said kind of makes you want to go out and do the research. Makes you want to go out and create your own opinion and for you to make your own decisions about these things. Because that's what this is about. Don't follow the sheep with the biggest bell. Be your own bell. Be your own sheep. Be a fucking wolf, for crying out loud. Be a dragon. You're on my channel. You're a dragonette, for crying out loud. Be your own dragon. Don't take everything at face value. Take everything with a pinch of salt and make your own decisions. And respect those that deserve it. Treat those with dignity that truly deserve it. Because this world is not... Excuse me. This world is not black and white. There is a lot of gray. And the sooner we realize that, and the sooner we address that, the sooner things will get better. But that's just me. I'm an extremist, and that those are my opinions, and my opinions alone. I do not expect you to follow my opinions, and I do not expect you to agree with me. This is not just me spouting shit out. This is a conversation. If you want to talk more about it, leave a comment in the comment section down below. I read all of my comments, and I do reply to as many as I can when they need a reply. But I will reply to your comments in this video, and I will read all the comments, and I will listen to you, and I will have that discussion. But if the discussion starts turning into not a discussion, but just extreme preaching, kind of like what I did, and I apologize for that in advance, then I won't reply, because I don't reply to preachers. I reply to those that are willing to discuss and converse. Be civilized to each other, love each other, and respect each other. We're not different, we're all the same. We all bleed red. And if that's not enough to make us all the same, then there is literally nothing in this planet that could.